right. It's time for the Dog and Chicken Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Episode 37. Got some fun stuff for you. As you can tell by the title, we're going to dive into a little bit of a historical murder spree, one of the only famous ones from Nebraska. I guess Nebraska's got to be famous for something. But before we get into that, this is, I don't know, I think I can count on one hand how many times we've done these sober. So, yeah, this is Sober
That's
Chicken
fair.
and Sober Tony.
Yeah, annoyed Tony now because we literally got a half hour, 45-minute later start than I wanted to. And then we did about 45 minutes of XFL talk that we'll be putting up on the XFL Fanatics page. Check that out on Facebook. And then a half hour of me trying to get my headset, which completely disappeared from my audio options, working again. But now we're up and running. I'm annoyed. It's 10 o'clock and I can't drink booze.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. uh, so how's the challenge going for you, man? Like, for those who don't know, we set out on a booze-free February and kind of a fitness challenge, and I been trying to talk a little bit of shit on Facebook to Tony and keep him motivated. Damn it. I didn't see a lot of shit happening on our little Fitbit tracking bullshit, and I had to talk some trash, man. I thought you were getting lazy on me.
No, I don't know. Like the booze, I can handle the booze. Like we're 1 week in, 8 days in, I'm fine. I've done a month before. It's been a while, but sometimes I'll go 2 weeks and then it dawns on me like, oh, I haven't even had a fucking drink in 2 weeks. But no, that hasn't been a problem yet. Even though I've got a lot of stuff right now, I'd like to drink that's behind me. But I digress. The fitness thing has been kind of a pain in the ass because I like January, I really tried to buckle down. That didn't work great, and I didn't get to meal prep or anything. I've been doing better this week in February, but working out's been a fucking challenge because she's been going in early every day, and then she had to work most nights this week. So, yeah, kids don't let me fucking work out, but I've still been able to knock out my daily challenges. It's squats, push-ups, sit-ups, planks, this little 30-day challenge of that. Plus, been running here and there, getting a few lifts in. So that's been going about as expected. But the Fitbit thing, fuck me, dude. Like, I can't win with this damn thing. I gotta take it off. I have to take it off if I drive the truck at work because it's such a bumpy fucking ride. So if I take it off, I'm not wearing it for an hour, hour and a half. It's just sitting on my desk. Because even if it rides in the cab with me, it looks like I'm the Bionic Man churning out steps. So that's not fair. So I gotta leave it on my desk. Then I'm not active. So I lose on that. So then my steps are behind. So I'm losing on that. So it's not going worth a fuck on that side. So
Yeah.
hopefully this next week I can find a rhythm. But fuck me, I don't know. Like even if I drive a mile in my pickup, I'll get like 5-10 extra steps. So I don't know. I really wish there was a driving mode for this thing.
Five or 10's not going to give you a whole lot, but yeah,
No.
it's not.
Well, a mile. If you
Yeah.
chalk up like 100 miles.
Right. Yeah. No, we'll come back, touch on that a little bit, and see where we expect to be, I guess.
Yeah.
You talked XFL. We're jumping into that. Tony started a Facebook page on there, so jump over XFL Fanatics. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I just threw it together like, hey, I wonder if anybody's cornered the market on Facebook yet. No, I didn't really see anything big, so I made one, invited a bunch of people, so maybe that'll take off. But yeah, weekend is over. We've had our first 4 XFL games. That was fun. We just got done talking about all that. There's the Facebook page for those of you watching on video. Check it
Yeah.
out, follow, join. Good times, good
Good
times.
stuff. Well,
And of
should
course,
be a little minor trash talking coming soon.
I hope so. I really hope so.
I think
Because
so
yeah, now that NFL's over, gotta have something to talk shit about.
for sure. Um, Other than that, I guess we can start jumping into tonight's topic. We're gonna what spawned this was I can't remember whose Facebook page I was just kind of browsing through and I saw somebody had posted that the girl that was with Charlie Starkweather has asked for a pardon. I guess this isn't the first time, but she's still looking to be pardoned for her role in the murders where she was found guilty. And I was like, "What? Really?" Like, I guess I was kind of oblivious. I was like, I thought she was dead, but no, she's alive and well and lives in what, like Michigan or Wisconsin or something.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. No,
but
I feel like this kind of comes up every couple of years. She just like every 2 3 years, she kind of pops up in the news about being sorry, feeling like she was framed and this and that. Yeah, it just kind of every few years she kind of pops back in the limelight. But I'm gonna look it up, see how old she is now, because yeah, no, she is not. She is not deceased, and she was only 13, 14 when all these events took place. She is 76 years old now today. She was born July 31st, 1943, and she does not say where she lives now, but I think you're right. I think in the northern half of the country.
yeah, so yeah, as soon as she got released on parole, I think she served 17 years in prison for her roles in the murders, and then
Yeah, because
immediately
she was sentenced to life.
yeah, yeah. And she got paroled early, of course. She was the youngest person tried for murder as an adult in US history. So she's got that going
Hmm.
for her.
Yeah, 17 years before being paroled in 76.
So I don't know. So like I think the question I posed to you was, like, is this for real or something like that? And the thing that I was shocked with is everybody was so quick to jump in her defense, I guess, of yeah, they should pardon her. Like, wait a minute. Like, what?
So, yeah, this article I'm looking at in the Omaha World Herald, she, in her application, said she had no other arrests or convictions since the Starkweather spree, and she'd been employed by a hospital in Lansing, Michigan. She married after moving to Michigan, indicated that her husband had died, and she now lives in Hillsdale, Michigan. The question of her guilt and innocence is still obviously debated in, Nebraska and Lincoln, where the murders took place. While a pardon would not declare her innocent, it would represent a formal forgiveness of her crimes. So, yeah, the question is, should she receive that? Granted, this has been a long time ago, but for something like this, does time really heal it?
Yeah, well, I don't know. So for those that don't know, I think we'll take it back.
Yeah.
So if you don't know or aren't familiar with the Charlie Starkweather and Caril Ann Fugate murder spree, this started what, back in the late 50s, I believe. They met in like 54 or 55, something weird like that. But
Well, it happened actually between 57 December of 57 and January of 1558, and it mostly happened in Nebraska and kind of bled into Wyoming while they were fleeing west. He was 19 at the time of his arrest, and she was 14.
right. And he had this like, from what I read, he was actually dating her older sister originally, and then his buddy and her like kind of fell in love. So Carol Ann Fugate's sister supposedly, now granted this is just reading some of the maybe and what ifs, but supposedly Carol Ann's sister kind of pawned Starkweather on her, and then he kind of became obsessed with her to the point that led to his first murder of what was it, Robert um, Culvert? Yeah, he was the gas station attendant.
Yeah.
Um, he he wanted a stuffed animal for Carol Ann, um, but he wanted to do it on credit, and he refused and said, "No, you have to pay cash," and that pissed him off. Uh,
Yeah.
that that that
Right.
that's all it takes back in 1957, folks. You ain't got credit, pay cash.
Well,
It's
yeah, and
a little overreaction,
well,
don't you
I
think?
don't know.
Like,
I don't know if he wanted to put it on layaway or, what his intentions were, but yeah, they didn't exactly allow him to do that. So well, let's take it back a little bit. He was kind of an odd duck, I guess you could say, putting it mildly, but he had a very let's call it an infatuation, I guess, with James Dean. It was really popular at the time, right?
yeah, it was kind of
I'll
a
pull it up on
weird
his.
fascination with it. Like he always
Yeah,
had
he
the
took
leather
it to another
jacket
level.
and hair and
Yeah,
popped collar and all that shit.
I've got it on the screen here. The hair's done up like James Dean. The cigarette dangling from the mouth constantly. That rebel persona. He really had this ideology in his head. And grant, I have to stress this: he was not a super bright individual. He was a bit of a troubled youth. He liked cowboys and Indians as a young boy, they said, and really got into movies and celebrities and things like that. But when he started going to school, he really started to struggle. And his late teens were really, I think, hit kind of a boiling point. And I guess I had maybe forgotten you just mentioned that he was involved maybe with an older sister. I forgot she even had an older sister because I just remember the younger, the 2.5-year-old half sister. But
Yeah,
from what
yeah,
I really understood, the reason he was so infatuated with her was because she was really the only girl that ever acknowledged him, and she was one of those troubled teens that just loved the idea that an older man was interested in her. So it's
yeah,
kind of a bad perfect storm pairing, if you will. Now I said it before, he wasn't a very smart man, and she was, a youth, much younger than him, 5 years younger than him. So it wasn't so much a lack of intelligence on her part. It was just that super rebellious, super troublemaker. Well, let's call it, you know, hood rat of her time. So he's dumb and she's a brat. There you go.
yeah, yeah. She's looking to piss daddy off. Uh,
Mhm. Yeah.
her stepdad. So her original dad was an abusive father, um, and
They
after
tiptoe around it, but they indicate
yeah.
sexual abuse.
Yeah, they indicate several things, but her mother did remarry, and supposedly it was, the stepdad was a really good dad, took the kids as if they were his own, but he was really strict, which young girls and boys will rebel with a strict stepfather for sure. And you mentioned Charles Starkweather had some issues growing up. He actually had a birth defect that kind of gave him like a bow-legged issue, and he had like
Yeah.
a slight speech impediment, which caused people to
Yep.
tease him. And he had some vision problems too. But when he became a teenager, like he they said that, I mean, he was only like 5'5". He wasn't a very tall guy, but they said he was
No.
super athletic, very strong, like abnormally strong for his size, and was constantly in your face. He was like one of those guys, if you were not on his good side or he didn't like you, it was not a good thing. If he liked you, they said he could be the sweetest guy in the world, though, and he would do anything for you. So it was one of those, I think most people in the world know a shady character like that. And you're like,
Yeah.
I hope he's got my back when shit goes down. Like, I hope he ain't pissed at me. Like,
Yeah, some of the stuff I read and was watching earlier, one of the guys said, he just kind of gave off this vibe of this is a bad guy you don't want to get tangled up in because he feels dangerous. He feels kind of like just that badass persona, not like badass in a good way, but like I'm gonna fight you if I get that urge to fight you because you rub me the wrong way. You feel like that kind of person could just snap at any moment and start to fight you, or, try to hurt you because something just snaps inside their head. And this is well before any of the real bad shit started to happen. He was giving off that vibe to people. So I don't know. You can't really point to one thing in his life that made the last domino fall. It just kind of all culminated into this spree. I want to say when he was 18, maybe it was when he was 19, is when he started working with the garbage company. But I thought that that's when they kind of met. He and Carol, when they first met, was because he got this job, and that's when they started to get kind of close.
Yeah, because he was working at a warehouse prior to that,
Right.
and it was yeah, it was actually before that because that's when Carol's father-in-law, which his name was Guy, um, Guy Fugate. I'm assuming because I believe she changed her last name to match. Um, no, I got that wrong. That's Charles' father was Guy.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Where's her parents at? Hmm.
Hers. Let me see. I might have it on mine. Yeah, because he was 18 when he met her, and she was 13. And yeah, like you said, what I'm looking at says
Oh,
my
I know.
older sister.
Yeah, I know. I know where I'm getting this jacked up. I can cut all that out. Um. So where they actually, it was in the first time that one of the first times that they were together. Starkweather was trying to teach Carol Ann how to drive, and she crashed his dad's car. So that was Guy Starkweather, um, and he got pretty pissed. But um made him go get a job. He had to pay back and was pissed about his son's behavior and having this girl wreck his car. He kicked him out. He kicked Charlie out of the house. So then Charlie ended up quitting his job at the warehouse. That's when he went to the garbage company and he was working at minimum wage. um but that's also where he started plotting like bank robberies and started getting this really weird worldview. One quote that I read was he started thinking dead people are all the same, are all on the same level. Like, what kind of fucking 19-year-old thinks that way?
Well, there you go. Like he had a troubled childhood. He had some setbacks in his, personal attributes, and you can tell here, uh, again, the enamored mentality of James Dean, that rebel persona. Here on the screen, we've got him pictured with Caroline, and you can just see he's kind of disillusioned himself with reality. He's clearly trying to put on a persona. And they say when you commit that first murder, most people that do it are pretty overwhelmed by the act of it. And that was not the case for him. It
Yeah,
it really resonated with him on a different level, and he enjoyed it is one way to put it, but more so he was indifferent to it and liked the excitement of it, and just enjoyed playing God more so in that instance.
yeah, it's really weird. We'll get into it here in a minute, but he really likes shooting people in the head with a shotgun. um Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
um
yeah, yeah. He, I don't know if that's weapon of choice or what was available to him, but
he also didn't
yeah,
like
that's
dogs. He
yeah,
after he killed people, he killed their dogs too. It's that's
yeah,
a little unnecessary.
yeah. There's a lot of unnecessary stuff. pretty much with all of the murders, and we'll touch on that as we need. But yeah, getting back to that first one, like you said, he wanted to get her a gift, and he obviously couldn't afford it. So he takes the guy, um, he forces him to give him all the money in the till. I think he wanted to get into a safe, but they couldn't get into it. So he forces the guy to give him what he has. It is $100. Puts him in the car with him. They drive out to the country somewhere. Maybe a struggle occurs, maybe not, but he takes the gun and he shoots him in the head. And Starkweather later says after the first murder, he'd been transcended to his former self. In this new plane of existence, he was outside of the law, could commit any crime without guilt or fear or repercussion. So, again, a lot of people really have a different outlook on that first kill, that commit a first murder, and he went the other way with it. It changed him in an even more evil way. So yeah, this was the first. This was just the first. So this just opened up a whole can of worms, and this made him snap. And as that quote suggests, he kind of decided how he wanted to go about the next stuff, and obviously that's where we get into her family.
Yeah. With that, like I'd read a couple other things too, to where he had actually that first murder, that was Robert Culvert. I think he was 21 years old,
Yeah,
gas station attendant, and he actually made him drive the vehicle.
yeah.
From one of the like I've read and listened to several different things on this, but a couple of them referenced a lady's house that he had actually wanted him to get out at. It was a lady that was known to shoot people with rock salt, and so he was trying to kick him out into that property. So it sounded premeditated, like he wanted to make it look like it was this lady that probably killed him. Whether there was a struggle or not, as we get into the next murders, you'll hear that's a common
Hmm.
theme. That's his big defense, as I was defending myself. Um,
Yeah.
but he just likes to shoot people in the head with shotguns. But this,
Not just the head, but the
yeah,
back of the head.
yeah. But this
Kind of
first
hard to
one,
claim self-defense.
yeah, this first one. So this is before Caril. Caril doesn't know anything, and she's not involved in this first murder at all. But like, to me, this sounded like if he really did plan to drive this individual to this certain house and then shoot him in the head there. It sounded premeditated because he wanted to have that, like, maybe it was the lady in the house that shoots people with rock salt. Like, sound like a nice little alibi, right?
Well, and it does. He did case the convenience store a bit before he tried to
Yeah,
rob
he
it.
went he went like 3 times, didn't he?
Yeah, at least a couple.
He
And
bought a pack of
that seems
smokes,
to
left,
be
came back, bought a pack
yep,
of gum, left, and then came back.
yep. So, I mean, I don't know. It just sounds like a lot more of planning ahead than he's actually capable of because
Yeah.
he's not a smart person.
Yeah. So prior to him coming for the next murders happened January 21st, but prior to that, um, him and Carol Ann, so they'd been dating for a little while, but they had a little bit of a falling out and a bit of an argument. And she told him that uh, she never wanted to see him again. And so he was, buying flowers and always trying to stop by. And then that led to January 21st, 1958. Um, he comes to the Fugates' home. So the mom and stepdad, that was Velda and Marion Bartlett. They told him to stay away, and that he wasn't welcome. Ended up uh, shot them both. And then not only that, they had a 2-year-old daughter, and this is the kind of fucked up part. Stabbed and strangled 2-year-old Betty Jean, and then hid their bodies behind the house.
Yeah, Velda Bartlett was 36, Marion Bartlett was 58, and yeah, Betty Jean was like 2.5. And not just the fact that they murdered all of them, but it was the fashion in which they did it. And what I looked at earlier suggested that maybe some blunt force trauma to the 2-year-old with the butt of the shotgun. And then after the murders are done, what they did with the bodies is even more bizarre, because was it uh Marion, they took him and they shove him down like the outhouse opening? Is that what happened to his?
Yeah, I don't have that pulled up. Yeah, the one of them ended up in an outhouse. One was like,
I believe it was him. And then Velda, or no, excuse me, maybe it was, I think it was Velda they maybe shoved in the outhouse, and then Marion I think they put inside the chicken coop. And Betty Jean, they put her in like a cardboard box and put her on like the back of the bathroom toilet. And then they lived there for 6 days.
yes,
That's just, see, there you go. Anybody, okay, so I'll just make it known now. I think it's total fucking bullshit that she's even remotely innocent. You can't tell me she lived in this house for 6 days with her dead family in multiple rooms and buildings of this place and didn't once try to escape. Even if he committed all three murders and she didn't lay a finger on them, which guarantee she did, she didn't try to get away for 6 days, even though during those 6 days, relatives, I think her grandmother stopped by more than once just to try to get in the house, and they kept shooing them away because they said, "Oh, everybody's sick, go away, go away." She had more
yeah,
than enough opportunity to try to get away and try to get help.
yeah.
And
What?
it wasn't until the grandma said, "I'm going to call the cops," that they actually decided to leave.
Right, right. And we'll come back to what was damning and not so damning on Carol Ann and her
Sure.
involvement on it. But yeah, Grandma, you're right. She got suspicious, and caused enough stink to where they finally decided time to get the hell out. Um, so they drove to a
Week. A
farmhouse.
fucking week.
What?
A week they stayed in the house.
Oh, I
I
thought
mean,
you said
ugh.
that's fucking weak. I was like, what happened? I don't have my camera pulled
No,
up.
it's pretty fucking weak. That is pretty fucking weak. But
So
no, they stay there a whole damn near a week. That's insane.
yeah, yeah, it's gross. Um, then Starkweather, he knew this August Meyer is a 70-year-old guy that used to go hunting on his property. So this is out by Bennett, Nebraska. So he drives out there,
Yeah, it's like a
and
family friend of him and his dad that they went hunting with in the past. So that's
yep.
how he knew him.
And so he goes out there and says, "Hey, I want to teach Carol how to shoot." And so as August is taking him out to the field and walking through, guess what he does? Shoots him in the
Yeah, he
back
pops
of
him
the
in the back of the
head
head.
with the shotgun.
See,
And then
now
he
was this actually outside or was this like right up by the house? Because they took his body and they put it in like the garage.
let me pull up here. I can't remember exactly where it happened at, but I just remember it was a family friend. That was the excuse that he
Yeah.
supposedly told him. Shoots him in the back of the head with a shotgun because somebody, I don't know if it came out in Carol Ann's testimony that he was starting to ask questions and was wondering, like, knew something was up, and that's why Charlie shot him. But then he shot his dog too. There he goes being a
Yeah.
dick again.
I don't know. Well, yeah. Somebody, yeah, he's obviously got shit wrong with his head. Pretty bad, but I don't know, like animals can really pick up a vibe from people, right? Like that's something, you and I have discussed on different levels a lot of time, but animals kind of have a different sense for the demeanor of people. And I'm sure that this guy, being as jumpy as he is, an animal is probably going to smell him the wrong way. And that's probably going to make him lose his shit even more.
Yeah, yeah. Um, then that leads them to fleeing that area. But they got their car stuck in the mud. And that brings us to Robert Jensen and Carol King, local teenagers that were just trying to be
Well,
nice and give
on
him a
the way
ride.
to August Meyer's farm, they got stuck, like, on the road leading up to the house, they got stuck.
Yep.
They killed him. I think they just went in there. Did they? I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. How long did they stay at his house before they decided to take off from there? And they obviously had
Um,
no transportation yet.
yeah, it was fairly
It's
short.
still stuck.
Yeah, it was fairly short because the whole idea was I believe they were going there to get a vehicle, but then
Yeah.
these two pulled up on on their stuck vehicle, so that's that Robert Jensen and Carol King become
Hmm.
the next victims.
Yeah. And this is like an engaged, teenage couple. They said that this is just a couple of younger kids that everybody liked, and they're just being good Samaritans, and they came across them on foot, and it gets really, really freaking dark. This one does.
Yeah, this is a horrible, horrible scene. We'll just run through it real quick. So he forced the two to drive them back to an abandoned storm cellar. He shoots Jensen in the head,
In the
and
back
then
of the head, 6 times.
yeah,
Six
yeah,
times in the back of the head. Yet we're still gonna try to plead self-defense.
yeah. I'm sure
Go ahead.
he tried to fight back. I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is where it gets gross and terrible. Then he turns to King, Carol King, attempts to rape her. She fights back, so he's unable to successfully rape her. He gets angry, and she gets fatally shot as well. Um, this is where we start getting into more of the accusations that we'll come back to. But Starkweather in court said that he did shoot Jensen, but he claims that Carol shot Fugate or Carol shot Carol King and out of a jealous rage due to her supposedly enjoying the attempted rape or something weird. I don't know. This whole thing gets messy.
Yeah, this one gets bad. Like you said, they take him and this is in Bennett, Nebraska, and he shoots Jensen, and then he attempts to rape King. And whether or not this is a she just fought back, so he shoots her, or Carol shoots her, or Fugate shoots Carol King. I It's a jealousy thing. It's a obviously I don't know. It wasn't just the murder of Carol King. It was what they did to the corpse, and whether it was her or him who did it. There was multiple knife cuts and stab wounds, and I didn't see whether or not this was uh, post mortem or not. But it's the significance of it, because obviously he says this, and his story really kind of checked out, and he tried to rape her, she fights back, she ends up dead. He says she shot her, she denies it. Obviously, like you said, there's some jealousy going on here. Maybe not at first, maybe she changes her mind. It just gets so dark and twisted. And then the way they found the bodies in the storm cellar, her body's been mutilated, her organs, him being shot in the head so many times. It's such a grisly scene, such an angry bloodlust murder. This one really, I think, is what really started sending the shockwaves through not just the community but the whole state and the rest of the country, because of the grisly scene that this one was.
Yeah, and so at about this time after these murders, the bodies are piling up and they're being found, and the family's been found, and they're looking for Charlie and Fugate at this time. So they're on the run officially at this point with the police looking for them. They actually take Jensen's car and they drove back into a wealthy section of Lincoln. And this is where they turn. You think that last one that was kind of turning the dial up on the intensity of the murder. Um,
Yeah.
Now's where they just turn the intensity up, and I don't know. This is just like they're almost wanting to just piss everybody off or get caught or just turn up the dial on police coming after you till 11 apparently.
Well,
um
at this point, they're so committed to the act of a murder spree that I think for Charlie particularly, that first murder allowed him to realize, hey, I could do this, and I like doing this. And each time he'd kill somebody, he apparently felt the need to kind of raise the stakes. Like you get numb to certain things, and like they say, unfortunately, murder is one of the things that gets easier the more you do it, and especially for somebody like this. So he's raising the stakes every time he does it and making it more and more twisted. And after killing those two, and they go here, so now they're looking at more. This isn't just a murder on a whim. They're raising the stakes on who they're killing now. It's not a whim. This is a little premeditated, because obviously if you're going to a wealthy area, they're looking for transportation, they're looking for money, they're looking for status. They're getting more premeditated in the act of killing now.
yeah. Premeditated and likely, I don't want to say they were ever careful, but they're extremely careless at this point,
Yeah.
and total disregard.
That's what bothers me about this whole thing. After killing Carol King and Robert Jensen, they're at 7 victims, and the just the general carelessness of the murders of their entire spree. Really, the fact that they were able to go as long as they did and as careless as they were, that's what really bothers me about the entire thing.
Yeah. Um, so continuing on with the spree, we'd mentioned earlier that he had worked for the trash company, so he knew his way around Lincoln pretty well. And that's why he was probably a little comfortable driving around
Sure.
the wealthy side of town. But he went to this gentleman's house, Lauer Ward, I believe is how you pronounce his name. But he was friends with the Nebraska governor at the time. So Charlie and Fugate come up into the home and the residence of Ward. He was the president of Capital Steel Company. Forces his way inside, and then finds the housekeeper or maid, Lillian Fend, who was 51 at the time. Um, Tries to not only gag and tie him up, throws her on the bed, stabbing her and uh, Mr. Ward's wife, Clara, who was 46 at the time. Kills them both, stabs them both in their own home. Later on, the husband, Mr. Ward, Laura Ward, who was 47, he gets back from a meeting with the governor. Um, w- and as he walks into his house, Starkweather's waiting in the hall, uh, shot him in the head and neck, and then stabbed in the back as soon as he opened the door. Then they stole his 1956 black Packard. Not sure what that vehicle looks like, but then they left town.
What
They
was
headed
it?
out west on Highway 2 towards Wyoming.
It's a 1950s. Now I gotta look. I'm
1956 black
curious.
Packard.
I am very. Oh gosh. Yeah. I gotta show this because it's your
Well, that's a nice
classic.
car.
Oh yeah, that is a classic car. But it's actually important to note that yeah, this is what they take. Those of you viewing can see this. It's got the semi visible wheel in the back. It's I believe a soft top convertible. Kind of looks like a 57 Chevy, if you will, if you're familiar with that model at all. But I think they all have white walls. Obviously, this thing is an eye-catching vehicle.
Yeah. That's a pretty car. At
Yeah.
least some folks got some taste in this, driving in style. I don't
For
want to give
now.
him any credit. Jesus.
Yeah.
So, so let's see. Where were we here? They've killed that entire family there. The Ward family and the maid stole the vehicle and they're starting to head west towards Wyoming on Highway 2. This prompts
Yeah, he's got a brother in Wyoming, right? And
yeah, that's where he's got a
they
brother in Seattle. His original goal was to get to
Oh,
Seattle.
yeah, that's right, that's right. And at some point, I wanna say, was it after they murdered her family, I think they were gonna go west. But they stopped and they turned back around, maybe realizing they didn't have enough, money or supplies or weaponry, what have you. And I think then this is when they decided, okay, now we have what we need because they've looted all these other people. They've gotten what they need supply wise. So now they're going back. I might have it wrong when they originally tried, but they did turn around, come back to Lincoln, commit some
Right.
more murder, get what they need, and then started heading back. So yes, like you said, now they're headed west in this eye-catching car.
Yep, yep. The Ward's house was raided. That was the purpose of those killings is to get them out of there.
So
Um
yeah, it may have been in between King and Jensen and the Ward murders when they originally tried to go west.
right. Um so we mentioned that Ward was friends with the governor. Um, so this, of course, rich neighborhood in the capital city, friends with the governor, gets murdered by these two kids. And teen angst was a big issue at the time, and super scary to politicians. And back in the 50s, you can about imagine how it was. They actually called in the National Guard, and I don't know. I tried to look up images. I didn't look real hard, but supposedly they were driving around in Jeeps in the streets of Lincoln. National Guard kind of put shit on lockdown. They were going door to door and driving around with Jeeps with guns mounted on the back of it, looking for Starkweather and Fugate. They crossed the line. They pissed off the governor, and he wasn't pulling any punches. He was calling in all the resources this time.
Yeah, at this point, you have all the local law enforcement involved. You have state law enforcement involved, the National Guard. Plus, you have citizens who have a gun, they're armed, doing neighborhood sweeps. If they have an extra gun, they give it to a neighbor so they can help do neighborhood sweeps. Everybody's freaked out. They're calling off school and telling kids to go home and be with their family because of this stuff. Like this is turmoil. Like nobody really knows what to do. Like they were so unprepared for these events to unfold that they had no choice but at this point to treat it like a massive thing because they didn't know where these people were. They didn't know how to handle the situation. So they're canceling school, telling kids to be with their family because everybody's on the look for these people. And it's to, a 14 and a 19-year-old kid who
One of
aren't
them
that
dresses
bright.
like James Dean. I bet everybody was
Yeah.
dressing like James Dean.
Yeah. We have the National Guard and community soldiers looking for two teenagers who are careless. That's what just baffles me about this entire thing.
Yeah. Um, so they head west. They do make it to Wyoming. Um,
Yes.
but they,
In the
as you
Packard.
mentioned, yeah, in the Packard, and as you mentioned, that Packard kind of stands out. They decided after they got to around Douglas, Wyoming, they're like,
Well,
we,
plus the Nebraska plates. They didn't want to
yeah,
get caught because of that.
yeah, they're like, we better ditch this. That brings him up to the traveling. Was he a shoe salesman?
Yeah, maybe shoe. I think he was just salesman in general. I didn't see specifically what.
I thought he was a shoe salesman.
Yeah,
Merle
makes sense.
Collison, and he was sleeping in his Buick on the side of the road. And from what I understand, this was in the evening or night. Um, and so they pull up and awake the sleeping salesman and shoot him. Um,
Yep,
was he shot in the head on this one too?
I believe so.
Um,
Because why wouldn't he be?
Yeah, right. Um, from what I understand, isn't this the one where Starkweather claimed she went trigger happy?
Yeah, there was some oh murky water on this one. Like he maybe didn't quite finish this guy off, or she maybe
I
shot him
thought
in the
his
first
gun jammed
place.
or
And
something, wasn't it?
okay, yeah, basically they couldn't really determine which one of them specifically fatally wounded him, but yeah, it that's why it just baffles me how anybody can claim self-defense and preach innocence on one half or the other. Just this is a guy who's clearly defenseless, sleeping in his car, and two people come up
Oh.
on him.
No, I
Yeah,
just found the details of it. Um, so uh, so he was 37-year-old traveling shoe salesman from Montana. Um, so they Carol quietly climbed into the back seat while Starkweather opened the driver's door, shot him in the head 9 times, and
Jesus.
yeah, and that's where Starkweather's saying that Carol did it, and that it was because his shotgun jammed, so she went crazy and just went trigger happy on him, and, uh, yeah, went a little crazy. Um, so after killing
And is that because she's freaked out because he's not dead, so she tries to shoot him a bunch of times to finish him off, or is that
oh
just her
god, I have no
completely
clue.
losing her shit?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um, so then this guy, Joe Sprinkle, I like that name. Joe Sprinkle. He's a 40-year-old geologist. And he sees the vehicle on the side of the road. Figure he would stop and lend a hand. So what they did with the shoe salesman Merle, they like shoved his body kind of like under the dash on the passenger side. And so Sprinkle comes up and was thinking they just needed some help. Now, this was a car that Starkweather was not familiar with. Uh, they had like some kind of emergency brake pump, and he didn't pump it right. I honestly I don't know anything about an emergency brake pump, but I guess I never drove a 1950s car. Um,
Yeah.
did you read
Basically a
anything on that?
parking brake. Yeah, basically just a parking brake, and he didn't know how to disengage it. So this guy comes up and basically, another good Samaritan type situation, and he basically immediately says, either get this parking brake off or I'll fucking kill you.
And he Sprinkle breaks away, runs to the deputy. Supposedly, he's screaming, "It's Starkweather! He's going to kill me!" Carol, who's in the car, ran to the deputy, saying pretty much the same thing. So Starkweather jumps back into the Packard and speeds off, races through a roadblock. That thing, they say, got over 100 miles per hour until they shot through the windshield and cut Mr. Starkweather with some shards of glass, and he thought he had been shot and was bleeding out, so he stopped.
Yeah, just like a scene from a movie, they're shooting at the guy trying to get away, and he takes a bullet in the ear, so he surrenders. That's basically what happened. But yeah, like you said, it's probably just glass anyway. Because you look at the pictures of the arrest, and he, yeah, doesn't look like his ears falling off or anything. But yeah, here I'll pull that up. He surrenders, and like you said, she runs up and immediately starts claiming that she was his hostage. He
Yeah.
drives off. They shoot at him. he surrenders. So at this point, he's in custody, she's in custody. Yeah, actually, first and foremost, I think that the kind of the unsung hero here is that Sprinkle, because he not come up and tried to wrestle away the gun once he got the gun turned on him. How much further
Oh, he
do
might
they
have killed the
go? How
cop
much?
then.
Yeah, this probably doesn't go the same way. This probably put an end to what could have been twice as many murders before they caught up to him. So that's I guess a silver lining. At least this happened here at this point because they could have easily gotten away and kept going and kept doing this. But she runs up to the deputy and says, "Oh, he's held me hostage. I've been his captive. He's forcing me to do this stuff." To me, that immediately sounds premeditated. Like that's the failsafe. You got to think that at some point they had the conversation. Well, there's a
If I
likely
get
chance.
caught, here's what I'm going to
Yeah,
say.
we're probably not going to get away with this. So if we don't get away with this, and I get caught, you claim innocence. You say it's all on me, and because he loves her and he doesn't care about himself. Whatever. That just sounds premeditated to me. That sounds like a failsafe. But he's immediately in custody, and he starts rolling over right away. Like that plan went out the window. He immediately starts saying, "She did this. She did this. She killed this person. I didn't. She did this to this person." And immediately, that all went out the window. And they couldn't use it in court, but they hooked him up to lie detector, and his side of the story checked out as opposed to hers.
Yeah. Um, so they keep so Charlie, like, he tries to plead out, but it was kind of funny, to where, he's like, well, I'm probably gonna get the death penalty no matter where I'm at. I'd rather just go back to Nebraska at this point. So he asked to get extradited back to Nebraska to face crimes. Well, the Wyoming governor, was not a fan of the death penalty and publicly stated afterwards that if they had tried him in Wyoming, he would not have put him to death. He would have gave him life imprisonment. But you got to think that as soon as that paper come across his desk of, do you want to send him back to Nebraska, I bet he signed that real goddamn quick. Was like, yeah, take care of that, boys.
Yeah. I think Nebraska would have gotten him back anyway. The
Oh
murder
yeah.
started here, and that's where a bulk of this happened. So Nebraska would have found a way to get him, but it probably would have gotten strung out a lot further. But yeah, Nebraska would have gotten him back and killed him either way. So yeah,
So well, they kept him alive so he could testify against Caril.
yeah,
And
because now at this point, yeah, he's rolling over on her. They separate him, and now he knows what's up for himself. He knows what's in his future. So
well, and that was only
you come
because
to
she started rolling on him. Like, he was saying she had nothing to do with anything at first, and then she
Mhm.
started giving up details and more stuff. And he's like, "What the fuck?" And so he's like, "You know what? She's just as guilty as I am. She needs to burn with me. We both should be in the electric chair." So yeah, he started going after her.
Yeah. At this point, it's fear, it's rationale. You're trying to. I don't want to say he's trying to atone for anything because I don't think he felt any remorse about any of it. I don't think he cares about any of it. He's facing his own mortality, and in that moment, you really kind of see what kind of a person who they really are. And like when he got shot, he stopped because he thought he was bleeding to death, and he wasn't. So he has that bullyish mentality when he's in control. But when he's backed into a corner and the power's taken away from him, he gets quite cowardly. So that's really telling of the entire thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, Any more with the story? Like she served 17 years, gets paroled, moves away, gets married in 2004 or something like that. Her husband dies in a tragic car accident just a few years ago. She's free. Um, Granted, yeah, she's in her 70s, but asking to be pardoned for her roles in this, or her role in this whole thing. I don't know. She's already free. What more do you need?
That's just it. Like, I don't know what more she wants. Especially being 76 at this point. I don't. Does she really think that she needs her name cleared? Like you said, she's free. She married. She moved. She changed her name. What the fuck more could you want after getting a sentence of life imprisonment? What more do you really want other than to not be behind bars? Is your name really that important to you at this point? Like, everybody's familiar with the story. I guess if you've got a legion of fans who want to prove your innocence, then sure, maybe. I guess I don't get it, but yeah,
Yeah.
she was convicted as an accomplice, received a life sentence on November 21st, 1958, paroled in June 76, 17 and a half years. Settled in Lansing, changed her name, worked as a janitor. I guess I didn't notice this before, but serving 17 years at the Nebraska Correctional Center for Women in York. And I can't find any information on the husband. I'm really kind of curious about that, I guess. Frederick Clare, 7, apart from a radio interview in 96, she's refused to speak on the murder spree. But now in 2020, she's asking to be pardoned.
Yeah. I don't know. When you break it down and you look at, I don't know, like you alluded to it earlier, like the sketchiness of the whole damn thing. Um
I
I
just
just I I
no.
don't see her really as an innocent bystander in any of this. I get they're probably like, I'm not going to deny that they're I bet Starkweather had, some fear of God that he put into her. I bet that he threatened her. I bet he said all kinds of things. But he stated, in, I don't know if she admitted to it or not, but he said, I left her alone several times. I left her in the vehicle alone with all of the
Yeah.
guns, and she never ran away. She was left by herself for days at a time and never left and went and told anybody. She could have found the police. She could have went and found somebody, and she never did until that last day when the
Yeah.
cop come rolling up.
Yeah, the jig was up, so she made it a point to try to get away with it. So it even could be a situation where it wasn't discussed with him, and she just kind of made it up on the fly and had it in the back of her mind the whole time. Like, okay, once we get caught, I'm gonna plead innocence. I'm gonna play dumb. I'm gonna pretend I was his hostage. She may never even have ran that by him, which would make a lot more sense since he immediately started rolling on her as soon as he was captured. So yeah, I think that, obviously, he was not the brains of this outfit, and he got lucky a lot, and she wasn't much smarter than him, but she was kinda looking out for herself in the long run, and I think that's really what it comes down to. To kinda prove that they weren't the smartest people, something, that wasn't really mentioned on any of the stuff I watched or read, and isn't mentioned on any of the stuff we talked about here, but they were so below average intelligence that they supposedly only had anal intercourse because they did not understand how actual intercourse worked. You remember
Okay.
hearing anything about that?
No, I didn't. No, but
I learned that in high school.
yeah. What? It wasn't the belly button?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, not the belly button. That's for the baby, that's where it
Yeah.
goes.
Oh, well.
But yeah, like the fact that they got as far as they did, being of such low intelligence and obviously willing to rat on each other. I don't know. It baffles me. And like you said, she's alone multiple times. Doesn't try to fight back to him. Doesn't try to escape. It was just in the moment when she realized it was over that she made that last ditch effort to try to get away with it. So people can try to claim innocence all they want, but I think the amount of murder that happened, you've got 11 dead because of these two. Who killed who? Neither here nor there. 11 people dead, and the grisly details of each murder, and the fact that she was able to live in her own house, surrounded by her dead family for a
Yeah.
week. I there's no innocence here for me. It's pretty open and shut. And honestly, I believe that she maybe even floated the idea out originally to him to kill the family, because I don't know if he would have enough foresight to do that, or if he would have just come up, had her hop in a car and they would have taken off. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know. I tell you what, like I think it's best to always follow what the jury had decided. They decided not to give her the death penalty, but life in prison, because of the evidence they had heard and the testimony they had heard. Granted,
Yeah.
now we are what 70 years, 60 years removed from the whole scenario, and we're not going to hear the stories firsthand. Her memories are going to be completely different. Like you know how little
Well, yeah.
details, and then all of a sudden it's a big detail. Over a 5-year time frame, it's 60 years. Like, so maybe she believes she's innocent. Maybe she's told her
Oh, at this
that's
point, yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
So if I were sitting, across from her right now, maybe she's a lovely lady. I don't know. But you know what? Like, hey, you got your freedom. Like you're out. You're living life. Okay. Be happy with that.
Yeah.
Like, calm the hell down. Um, yeah. I don't anything else on here? Inspired some good movies.
Yeah, it's yeah. Ugh. My favorite's Natural Born Killers. That's just an amazing movie all
Yeah,
around.
that's crazy. That came out in 1994.
I know it's yeah. Ugh, God.
Woody
Yeah.
Harrelson, Robert Downey
26 years
Jr.,
ago. Holy shit.
Juliette Lewis, Tommy Lee
Yeah.
Jones, directed by Oliver Stone. The one part,
Yeah.
like, I've been waiting for this to get remade and directed by Quentin Tarantino because he wrote the original,
Right.
but they had changed so much that he'd like disavowed it. He's like, I have nothing to do with this movie. That's not my movie anymore. Um,
But you can't watch that movie and not think Tarantino.
no, but I want to see
It's
what his would
shot
be.
so, oh God,
His
dude.
would be
Ugh.
fucking amazing.
This one's so fucking twisted that I don't know, man. His might be almost unwatchable.
I don't know.
It's fucking, it's pretty sick. And it's shot as a comedy. It's
Yeah.
shot as a fucking comedy. But yeah, it's dark as fuck. No, that's a great one. And Robert Downey Jr. is amazing in that fucking role too. God, Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis are great, but Robert Downey Jr. in that movie is fucking amazing.
What was the one
They
before that?
really take some of the events of the actual spree and they turn it up to 11. They took
Yeah.
a lot of the inspired stuff and really went outlandish with it. So yeah, you can see a lot of the different parallels and all the assumptions that were made about how they went about it. And man, they took some liberties with that.
Yeah, there were several others too. There was California in 1993. California spelled with a K, by the way. One of the more famous ones was Badlands in 1973, which had Martin Sheen in it. That was more of a well-known. You had The Sadist in 1963. And The Frighteners in 1996 was inspired by the killer duo as well. I remember The
Which one
Frighteners.
actually follows them by name? I thought there was only one that actually used like their names, and it was actually like kind of like a biopic. Was that The Sadist?
Let's see here. The Sadist. Um,
Maybe none of them did, but I thought one actually did follow pretty closely by name and story of the actual events.
yeah, Badlands isn't. California maybe. No, no, that's across country. The Frighteners is like a, I don't know, it's like a almost like a comedy in a way though.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's a Sadist. I've never seen it, but yeah, I remember there was one out of all the spin-offs
And
that
they've had
really.
several documentaries and
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, and I like watching those because you get some different takes on the whole situation, but most of them pretty genuinely agree that they're not smart people. She's not innocent. Come on.
yeah, yeah. A lot of people try to prop her up and want to have her pardoned. I don't see where anybody gains anything other
No.
than I see the families of those that were killed are the ones that are like, what the fuck, like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you want her to be pardoned, I ask that you go speak to the dead families and explain your reasoning. Oh, because she's a nice lady, and I saw her an interview with her in the '90s. She seemed
Yeah. She
nice.
she was just a teenager. She didn't know any better. Oh, give me a fucking
Yeah,
break.
yeah.
Oh, come
Nine
on.
times in the back of the head, and they killed
Yeah.
multiple dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. Fuck you. No,
Yeah,
not cool.
not cool. So he was Charles Starkweather. So just to wrap it up on a couple of things, he was put to death in what 1959, June 25th, 1959. He was the
Yep.
last person electrocuted all the way up until the 90s. So like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for Nebraska to kill you, um, yeah, you got to do something pretty damn bad. And it took 40 years for us to put another person in the electric chair. So, um,
Yeah.
and I read a quote when somebody was talking about how Caril Ann Fugate did not get the death penalty. They said Nebraskans got their pound of meat with Charlie. I was like, okay,
Shit.
wow,
God. Ugh.
pretty
So yeah, because
fiery
that's the
with
only
politics
reason.
back in the 50s. That's what it was
Oh
like.
my God. Yeah, because that's the only reason they wanted to put these people to death. They were just
Yeah,
blood hungry. Had nothing to do with the blood hungry people that actually committed a bunch of murders.
yeah, God no, why
Makes
would it be
perfect
that?
sense. Oh, people are dumb.
Yes, yes, people are dumb. Awesome. So yeah, I think that wraps up. Any final thoughts on the Starkweather fun or gruesomeness?
No, like, yeah, it's just one of those kind of infamous cases, especially in Nebraska history. I guess where we could kind of take this off, and it'd be an entirely different topic for another time. But we really haven't had another mass murder spree, really in Nebraska until here recently with the Sidney Lou Fabry Trail case,
Yeah, and
which
I'm not
is
up to speed with
another
that.
level of fuck. I didn't really follow it much as it was happening. My wife did quite a bit. She stayed, pretty well on top of what was happening. But man, that gets dark as fuck. It's weird. He's old, creepy murder, sex trafficker, cult leader.
Yeah, you just see his picture, you know something's
Oh,
fucking wrong with that guy. Like,
oh God, so many things. He tried to kill himself in the fucking courtroom. Almost did.
mm,
It's
he
it's
he just needs to piss off
nuts.
Hillary. Like, and we
Yeah.
got this.
Yeah, I think that would be the way to do it.
Gotta lighten it up, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. That's probably a topic for another time. But yeah, like I said, that's really the only real crazy murder spree that we've really had since the Starkweather murders. So
Mm,
yeah.
cool. Well, that wraps that one up. I guess the only couple things I got for you the rest of the night is you actually gonna beat me at anything this week on this whole fitness deal, or
Oh, I could beat the shit out of you if I didn't take my Fitbit off when I
well,
drove in the feed truck.
yeah, no feed truck, no beating off.
That's horse
Those
shit.
don't
I gotta
count.
take it. Oh, dude, you can't make me promise that.
How many steps do you think you get just beating off?
I don't think it would work that way. Does it?
I don't know.
Hang on. What am I at? I'm at 12,418. I'm at. See, it didn't even move.
It didn't move.
No.
All right, let's see
Wow.
where mine's at. Let's see. I'm at 8,028. Nope, still at 8,028. Hey, it's beat off proof. I like that.
Well, I wish it was fucking driving proof. How the fuck is there not a driving mode? Seriously, it's driving me nuts. There's got to be a way to do it. And I've looked it up, but I can't find anything. I don't know. Pissing me off though.
I really think when this month's over, I'm gonna give this to my wife, and I'm gonna go get me my Apple Watch back. I miss my
Fuck
Apple Watch.
you. Oh, fuck you. Here we go.
Hey. It is the Apple Watch is superior. Now, Tony, you're proud of me. I made a purchase today that you weren't expecting.
Yeah. No, that's true.
I got my new laptop and I did not go with Apple. I stuck with a PC. So I'm not married to it. I'm not married to it.
Congratulations. You've taken your first step on not being a slave to Apple. I'm proud of you. Here's the thing I don't get about the Apple Watch. Why do you need a phone for your wrist if you already have a fucking iPhone?
I never used the phone part so much. Like I used it when I was driving. So for me, I drive a lot, and it was really handy because I'd get a text or a phone call, and if I didn't have like, yeah, of course you can do the Bluetooth through your vehicle while you're driving, but like if it was a text message, like I could just hit the little microphone and I could talk back into it and it would type it for me, and
Yeah.
I didn't have to, to be distracted from the road. I just hit a little button, say what I wanted to say, and all was good. That's all I use that feature for. But for the driving piece, the thing I love the most is it linked up with my phone on my GPS app, and with like the little vibration haptics that you get. It would remind me, hey, your fucking turn's coming up, dumbass. Pay attention to the road. Like, I get to drive in like 2 hours straight, and I'm like, oh fuck, I missed my turn. Shit. I'm like, but my Apple Watch would always save me. It would always vibrate and be like, hey, your turn's coming up.
As long as there's an actual function other than, hey, I can answer my wrist. Well, good for you. That's awesome.
No, it had some. It's got way more functionality than the Fitbit. Like I got the.
Yeah, of course it does.
I can't even remember what the hell this one's called, but like it's not bad. Like
I know mine's the Charge 3. It's just the small rectangular face. Well, actually, this is the large rectangular because originally it was just an itty bitty little screen, but this is a good size screen. It's not the square one. Lindsay's got the big square one.
Yeah.
Actually, that one kind of shit out on her. I don't know what happened to it.
I got the big square Blaze, which that one's pretty cool.
That's probably what she had.
That was the first one I ever had. It still works. And then I switched to this one, and I thought this one would be better. I bought that Blaze 3 years ago, and I was like, oh well, this new one's got to be way better. Nope, my Blaze is like way more advanced than this damn thing is. But whatever. I just for the sake of being consistent for the month, I just keeping this one on and keep on rolling with it and keep on kicking your ass.
The thing I don't love the most, fuck you, I'll get there. You're probably gonna beat me on most of the categories, but
you're gonna beat me on active minutes because apparently you actually do physical labor at work. I don't. So
yeah, I was gonna say the one thing I seem to have a stranglehold on is the whole active, and I'm like, it'll be
I caught up to you twice, but I had to like work out for 2 hours. To get caught up, and I'm like, dude, I was so fucking sore the 2 days I did that to catch up to you. Fuck, man, I thought I was hungover when I woke up. I'm like, no, I quit drinking. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, why do I feel like shit? Oh yeah, like I wouldn't stop fucking working out last night. But it is weird because I'm like getting addicted to it. When I get started, I don't
Yeah.
fucking stop anymore. And like that night when I was giving you shit and I was posting on Facebook of like, and get after it, Tony, and giving you hell, like, and then at 10:30, 11, I saw you almost caught up to me. Like I had already ran for fucking 45 minutes straight on the treadmill and then went and did a workout with the kid. And then I look and I saw you were catching up. I was like, fuck you. I jumped back on the treadmill and ran for another fucking mile just to make sure you didn't beat me. Like,
Yeah, I noticed. I'm like, oh, fucking asshole. That's a dick move. Yeah, what I don't love, like, yeah, because at work I get that activity log quite a bit, but if I push the feed cart, like I got my corn or my soybean meal, whatever, I'm mixing the feed together. I've got a cart. My hands are up here. I'm pushing the cart like this, so I'm losing
all your
steps,
steps. Yeah.
all my steps, because my fucking hands are up here. And I realized that. I'm like, okay, well, at least I'm getting my activity log.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm losing fucking steps because of the fucking bumpy drive. I'm losing steps on the fucking push cart. Like, oh, I'm getting hosed here.
Oh, a few years
Oh
back, I
well.
used to do these work week and weekend warrior challenges on that Fitbit app with a buddy of mine at work, and he used to always do that. He would be like, "God damn it, I was pushing a fucking shopping cart, and that's why I didn't log any goddamn steps." And I'd just be like, "Dude, it's a kind of an inside joke with us at the stores was carts are for customers. What the fuck are you doing with a shopping cart? Like it was, 'cause you weren't supposed to fucking use them, but." And he's like, "Oh, I'm fucking using a cart and I can't fucking log steps." I'm like, "Carts are for customers, you fucking dick. Like, what are you doing?" Like, you know how I am.
That's pretty good. Oh yeah, yeah. No, you'd never be jaded or mean or say something dickish. I've never. No,
Never.
no. Yeah, that and this Fitbit. When I first put it on, that like first week, it said my heart rate was like 115.
Oh wow.
Now it says I'm like at like 80 something. So I don't know if it was just off or if like mentally my head's like, dude, you need to calm your shit down.
Yeah,
That and
something.
the
I don't know.
fucking the sleep pattern. Like,
Isn't that
I
crazy to
don't
look
know.
at?
I like it, but I kind of hate it because then I look at it. I'm like, ah, fuck. I knew I slept like shit. Now I feel even more tired.
It is really
So
nice though, because then you're like,
yeah,
"God damn it, what time did I fucking go to bed last night?" And you're like,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, okay."
yeah. So I do like it. Like, and I have it set for like 9:30 most nights. It'll tell me it's time to start winding down for bed, even though that's
Yeah.
not gonna fucking happen because
Yeah,
my kids aren't winding
mine
down
does
for
that
bed.
at 9:15, and it never works.
No. Once in a while, I'm hoping to get back in a good pattern and actually do that because I was getting so good at getting up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I would go out and I would jog, before the rest of the fucking town wakes up. And it's just when the weather was just perfect. I could run outside, I could listen to music, jog in peace. It's so nice, and I got so good at it. I got in such a good rhythm. I was getting really leaned out, and then I quit. Yeah,
Yeah, it
now
gets
we got to
cold
start
out.
all over again.
It's hard to go running in the mornings when it's that cold out. Like
Yeah,
it's it's rough.
yeah.
It's more fun to run outside though. I fucking hate treadmills.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the treadmill either. I'd much rather be outside. I'd be like, yeah, it's harder on you. You get a harder workout, but I get so fucking bored on the treadmill. Like
Yeah.
I can pull my phone up, I can watch shit, try to take my mind off it, but I still know I'm on a fucking treadmill. I can hit stop, I can get off at any time. So it's
Yeah.
hard to keep my head motivated to stay on the damn thing. Like I could just leave and
Yeah.
because the couch is right there. I could just stop like now and go over there. If you're outside and you're like a fucking mile and a half away from home, I got to go another mile and a half.
Yep.
So,
No, that's why I like my job traveling. Like when I go to Pierre, South Dakota, like, dude, like just go run alongside the Missouri River, and then all
oh
of a
yeah,
sudden you're like, oh shit, I'm 2 miles from the hotel. I gotta go back.
better
Like,
turn
it's
around.
but it's you can just get lost in it. It's beautiful and yeah,
Well,
nice.
yeah,
And
but for you, You could just be like, hang on, I'm like 3 miles away. Uber,
Not
take me
in
home.
Pierre. Pierre's hardly bigger than Geneva, dude.
All right, fair enough.
I can only do that in Sioux Falls, so
Okay.
I don't think Rapid City has anything. I don't know. I'll be out
Really?
there. They might. I don't know. I'll be out there this weekend or this
Rapid
week.
City's big enough.
Not really. It's only like, I think it's like 50 or 60,000 people. It's not that big.
Yeah.
Sioux Falls
Yeah, it's
is
more
Sioux Falls is
touristy.
slowly catching up to Lincoln. It's still smaller than Lincoln, but it's catching up. Like
Yeah, but Rapid City's touristy enough. I would assume that they'd have enough. Oh,
in the summer.
What you're telling me that people don't visit Rapid City in fucking February?
Oh, I
No.
do. I'm going there tomorrow.
I don't know if I'd call that visiting. You're
Yeah,
touristing.
work.
That's not really a vacation. That's torture
Yeah.
because it's cold as fuck there.
Yeah. Ugh.
Look at you. You're all bundled up there on screen.
Yeah,
How
I
cold
got
is
my
it?
hoodie and yeah, I gotta stay warm, yo. Fucking
Uh,
I know Puxatony Phil didn't see a shadow, but that doesn't mean shit when you're up here.
No, I never believe that shit anyway. Every time he says one
Yeah.
thing, it's fucking other way.
Shut up, don't tell me that.
So we, so we
I'm
got 3
banking on the
more
6
weeks.
weeks. That means it might stop snowing before May.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. So yeah, half of that 6 weeks will be spent. 3 more weeks we've got of no booze and try to lose a bunch of weight. All right, so we got a few more of these to knock out sober.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a 29-day month. We're 9 days in, so we're a third of the way over.
Yeah,
So that's one way
that's a
to
good way
look
to
at
look
it.
at it.
Yeah. Oh man, I was so
Fair
tempted to
enough.
have some drinks this weekend, though. Jesus Christ,
Ugh.
the
Ugh.
temptation. I'm more of the drinker of the two. Like I don't know. It's been a long time since I took a good week or two off. It's been a long time since I took that much time off. But no, like
I've been fine with it.
I was surprised it really didn't bother me a whole lot. After the first couple days of working out, I sweat everything out. And now I don't
Yeah.
know, felt great. I don't know. I'm still not sleeping that great, but that's because fucking workouts are driving me nuts and fucking making me feel
Yeah.
like shit. I get too sore. Dude, those fucking squats and those planks.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I can do push-ups and the fucking crunches all day. That doesn't bother me. But
Yeah.
it's those fucking squats. I've never been good with
Yep.
squats. My fucking knees are shit anyway. And oh my God.
I'd gotten really good at doing those, and I kind of got away from it. So I'm kind of glad I'm getting back into it because I was doing a
Oh,
lot of squats for a while. It sucks unless you do it every day. It just sucks. And
they
once you
hurt.
finally hit that rhythm, it
That
takes a
hurt so
while.
bad
But
though.
yeah,
When I seen it, it was like I don't have it pulled up in front of me. It was like you have to do 80 on one day, and then you get a day of rest, and then all of a sudden after your day of rest, you're to 100. And you're like, what the fuck, dude? I was going up by increments of
yeah,
5, and now all of a sudden I get a day off, and
yep.
now I go up to 100. Like, oh my God,
You almost don't want to take the day off because you feel
yeah.
worse after the day off.
But I had to do it in like increments. Like I had to stop and stand up because like my
Yep.
upper thighs were burning so bad, and I was like, you
Yeah, today it
stop
was
and
105. I
yep.
did 55 and then I did 25. I ran another half a mile and then I did the other 25.
Yeah, my problem is like I've tried to do it both ways where I'll do them before a run and I'll do them after a run. It doesn't
Yep.
fucking matter. It sucks
I've
no
been
matter
doing it
when you
all
do
in the
them.
middle.
Yeah,
Yeah. The last like 3 days I did like a couple miles each time at least, and
yeah,
I'd split that challenge up every quarter mile, half a mile. I'd, do
yeah.
something here, and
It's easier
that
for
way
me
I'm all
to
the way done.
It's easier for me to run in the evening, especially when I'm on the
Yeah.
road. So I think I'm gonna switch it up. I'll probably do my squats and shit in the morning when I wake up. If I can
There you
get it
go.
out of the way, like because I've been doing them all in the evening. Fuck, man, it tears me up, and then I'm fucking tired. It's just like oh. But being a weekend,
There
I
you
didn't
go.
do any runs this weekend. Just take a couple days off from running. I'll be
That's the only
running.
chance I got to get my good runs in was Friday, Saturday, and today.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fucking Monday through Fridays when it's gonna suck. I'm gonna have to try to
Yeah.
squeeze it in the morning. I know.
I'll be
I
in a hotel
hate-
all week, so I'll be bored and just go fucking run.
Yeah, that is a good advantage. Well, good luck to you, fucker.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else? I think that wraps it all up.
No, we'll figure out a topic for next week, and we'll bring you another sober episode.
Yeah. We're so much more fun when we're sober, let me tell you. So yeah, hopefully
A lot less
y'all
colorful, at least.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
No, it's
Definitely.
not a problem. It's a guarantee. Yeah.
We didn't slur our R's tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch all that. Oh God,
I can always tell
like the
when
second half.
you can watch us on video. You can tell when we're drunk because when you say Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, it's Revolutionary Podcast. I was just like, what did he just say?
Make sure to tune in to Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast
Uh,
for all the happenings.
Yes. Awesome. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Like Tony said, we'll look for another fun topic. We're looking in a possibility of doing some either ghost hunts or live ghost hunts in the future. We'll try to put something together on that. Of course, we got the XFL page, XFL Fanatics at Facebook. Look us up on there. Look up our other page, Big Buckin' Entertainment, on Facebook as well. Subscribe to YouTube. All the other major platforms for audio, whether that's on Spotify, Google, iTunes. Well, not iTunes, it's Apple Podcasts, whatever. We're on all of them. And don't forget, good time for Anchor, right? Ever heard of Anchor?
I have heard of Anchor. Could you tell me more?
Yes. All right. Last words, T.
Yeah. Oh, I guess, yeah, if you want to check out what led into episode 36, you can get to see me and Phil and Germs sampling some Glenlivet. I just got the Glenlivet Scotch taste test review up on the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast YouTube, so check that out to see what our pregame for episode 36 looked like.
Yeah, pregame. I like it. All right. That's our show for tonight. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week. And as always, love ya. Bye.